Hi everyone, it's Chenzo from Reality Art Pod, here to talk about the challenge season 40, episode 14, titled Swinging Era. Last week on the challenge, besties Michelle and Olivia fought it out in elimination, which sent Olivia to her Chally Moon with Theo, and Michelle selected Bananas, Josh, and Corey as targets this week. Before I dive in, I put a link in the description to my playlist, where you can catch up on my previous recaps. Also, we're so close to 5,000 subscribers, so if you like the content, consider liking and subscribing. But let's dive into it. Back at the castle, the divides are still deep, with Michelle finding a home with the Vacation Alliance, and Bananas sticking with his angels. Derek tells Michelle and Cara he's loyal to them, and he sees himself finally winning a final. It's revealed that Josh volunteered himself to Michelle as a target, a rare brave move from him. Tori and Rachel sync up and use chess pieces to lay out their alliances. Rachel tries to squeeze herself and Corey into Tori's future plans. They head to a daily challenge which takes place on a highway, and they send in the trucks to play Another Trucker. They'll be hanging off the side of a moving truck, using running momentum to swing and hit targets with their bodies. The man and woman with the most targets hit will be safe and in charge for the week. The woman with the least amount of targets will have a disadvantage in next week's daily, and the man with the fewest targets will go straight into elimination. Corey's penalty from the previous episode is he'll have one less target in his final score. They get started with Cara and Tori going first, showing that this is going to be harder for shorter players. Cara gets a lead on Tori, with Tori hesitating and missing a lot of jumps. Cara gets 5 and Tori gets 2 targets. Corey and Bananas are up next. Corey says he doesn't want to be known as the best player to never win the show. That seemed really self-indulgent of him to say. Sound off in the comments, is Corey the best to never win? Who, in your opinion, is the best to never win? For me, it's Leroy. Maybe Cam. So they do their turn. Corey and Bananas are crushing it. Corey misses some targets, but he looks cool hitting the targets he does hit. Bananas gets 11 out of 12 and Corey gets 8. Next are Michelle and Jenny. These two are edited with comical music as Michelle is swinging like a child on her rope. Jenny gets 5 and Michelle is kind of dunked on here with the edit, but she gets 3 and that's more than Tori. Next are Jordan and Josh. Jordan embarrasses the rest of the cast here, getting 12 out of 12 targets, looking badass doing it. Josh gets 6. Next are Aviv and Rachel Fitness. Rachel is feeling herself and thriving in this challenge, getting 8 targets while Aviv gets 2. Last are Derek and Kyland. They're both really good. Derek is leaving no crumbs. He says his strategy is pretending he's snatching weaves at drag brunch, which is rude to do, but Derek gets 12 and Kyland gets 11. We head to a sudden death round between Jordan and Derek to decide the winner for the men, with the trucks going faster than before. They get started and are crushing their targets. Jordan eventually misses, giving Derek the daily win and a celebratory rope swang. TJ announces the losing woman as Aviv, so she'll have a penalty next week, and Josh lost for the men, so he'll be going into elimination. The challenge winners are Derek and Rachel, so Rachel has to basically decide between Bananas and Corey who will go into elimination against Josh, which puts Rachel in kind of a tough position as all 3 men at risk are her friends. Back at the castle, Josh is upset and blubbering. He knows his number will soon be up in the game. This is about the time it happens for him. Later, Caro Murillo is back. Apparently his name is Carl and he's hung. It's nice to see Cara having fun, so I like when she becomes Caro Mario. They head to the club where Josh and Corey give each other encouragement. Josh says he loves Corey like family. Corey doesn't seem to agree. Rachel pledges her allegiance to Bananas. They feel that they've mended their rocky challenge relationship and she respects him for protecting the women he loves in the game. Caro Mario is Derek's biggest supporter. Caro feels that he's underestimated and is so proud of Derek. Rachel and Corey round up to use MTV's entire Blur budget for the quarter. Rachel feels that they have a special bond, but Corey tells us he feels like Rachel has done nothing to help him in the game, but we saw even earlier in the episode she was trying to help him. Winners Rachel and Derek round up and celebrate a big win for LGBTQ representation, which led to a whole montage of random clips that were meant to show representation. The editing of this was weird. There are way better clips they could have used, more inspirational music. This was a good sentiment, but strange execution. In the chamber, Rachel opens by saying she's pretty much made up her mind, but opens the floor for everyone to speak. Josh gets emotional, saying no matter the outcome, he'd be proud of himself if he wins for beating a strong competitor. Corey still feels bitter with Josh from their argument earlier in the season and wants to settle it down in the sand. Back in the castle, Corey FaceTimes with Nelly T. What a treat. Nelson gets a montage and they do him right with a good montage. Nelson shows us his leg after losing his foot in a car accident. Corey gets emotional and inspired by Nelson. Nelson's excited to get his prosthetic and start walking. This got me hyped up for Nelson's eventual return to the show. I hope. I know. I don't know. I hope. Cara meets with Rachel and asks Rachel to turn on Bananas. Rachel is incensed by this and basically calls Cara an idiot in confessional. Tori hypes Josh up as she does his hair, and he heads to elimination with his summer camp French braids, where Rachel announces Corey as Josh's opponent. They'll be playing Coming From Behind, where they'll be running down either side of a wall, with one player on offense and 1 on defense, the offensive player needs to hit the bell at the end of the track to get points. The defensive player can knock them out to prevent it and score a point. In round 1, Josh is on offense, and defense Corey runs so much faster than Josh. He's waiting for him at the door and bumps him out. Corey gets the first point. In the next round, Josh is on defense, and he flops over his hay bales and falls on his ass. So Corey gets another point. Corey then bops Josh out again for a third point, and in the fourth round, Josh at least makes it over the hay bales, but Corey gets the fourth point and eliminates Josh. So we lose Josh here, who I had little faith in preseason due to his terrible elimination record. This season ends up being a greatest hits for Josh with all of the crying and fighting that we can come to expect, though I can't admit that I don't dislike Josh as much as I used to on Big Brother. He has a story and is understandable and in a way very relatable to the viewer at home. On any season, you can count on him to have a good social game, make a deep run, but it's nearly impossible to avoid endgame eliminations if you're not consistently winning dailies. He keeps himself safe here for 13 episodes, which is a pretty deep run, but ultimately it's the eliminations that get him every single time, losing yet another elimination, bringing his elimination stats to 1 and 7, some of the worst in the game. I wouldn't mind seeing him on the show again. He causes drama, but as I said, I don't think he'll ever win, and there could be better things he could be doing with his time and life. I actually think he'd be a hilarious faithful on the Traitors. Following Josh's elimination, Corey gets to pick the next targets, and he picks Aviv, Michelle, and Jenny. I think this might be Aviv's time. That's my prediction. But that's all I have to say about this episode. Let me know in the comments. What'd you think of the episode? What do you think is going to happen next week? If you like the content, consider liking and subscribing. I'll be back next week to talk more challenge. Until then, have a nice weekend. Bye.